the first thing I would want to say to you, if you were President Obama, is how honored I was to be part of your campaign. In all of my life, I've never been in a presidential campaign. I'd never signed up. I'd never spoken up. I'd never volunteered. And this time, it was such a great honor. And I don't have any regrets for doing that, especially when I think where we would be if the other candidate had won. And so I would thank the president for the chance to have been a support to his campaign, and how glad I am that he won the election. The next thing I would say to you all, if you were President Obama, is how much I empathize with a horrible situation that you inherited.
Yeah.
You had nothing to do with so many of the big problems that now you're having to resolve. And I would go into great detail about my empathy and my, especially when so many people are critical. Isn't it easy to be an armchair quarterback when you know as little as the rest of us know? So I would express an awful lot of empathy and a lot of understanding, and I would be very quick to emphasize my own ignorance about the complexities that the president has to deal with. But the third thing I would do, if you were the president, I had the chance to talk to you, is I would say, could I dare, just as who I am, make a couple of suggestions? Mr. President, I'm sure you know a lot more of the truth now in some ways than you did when you were running. You understand the truth about how broken the system is in ways that you didn't when you were running. You understand more about the power of corporations and the power of vested interests and the power of the military-industrial corporate complex. You understand a lot more about that now than you did when you were running. You know a lot more of the truth now than you did when you were running. And here, I think, is the real question that I would want to ask you, Mr. President. Do you have the courage now still to tell the truth that you now see that you didn't see then? Just telling the truth. To be the kind of YouTube from the inside, to let the rest of us know some of the backroom deals that go on. In a sense, to break faith with the system as it is, and have the vulnerability to just tell the truth. The shocking transparency to tell us, here's what really happened in the healthcare debate. To have the shocking transparency of telling us what's been going on behind the scenes in this Gulf oil catastrophe. To have the courage to tell the truth about what has really happened leading up to and since the Gaza flotilla incident behind the scenes. Just to tell the truth. You know, you could only tell that kind of truth if you were willing to not get reelected. You'd have to be willing to tell that kind of truth. To tell that kind of truth, you'd have to be willing to have all hell break loose. But you'd also have to be willing to break with the status quo, because telling that kind of simple, transparent truth is the thing that seems to never happen. And Mr. President, finally, if I had the chance to talk to him privately, I would say to him, please, Mr. President, please appeal to the better angels of our nature rather than the bitter demons of our corporate culture. I think you would elicit from us a deeper resonance and a deeper willingness to make bigger sacrifices and believe bigger possibilities. I believe Rabbi Michael was just saying a few minutes ago that that politics is the art of the possible. But as a former pastor and as a fellow Christian, what I would want to say to the President is, Mr. President, faith is the art of the impossible. And when you have the courage to tell the truth, what was impossible will become possible. Now, I can imagine.
I wanted to expand the greetings of peace, and there are even other greetings of peace that I missed. As we live in a world that is representative of many diverse faiths, and as a representative of the largest mosque, the Al Dallas Area Muslim Society, as well as on the board of the Islamic Society of North America, you know, I come here to just, Rabbi Lerner asked me to say a few words. I want to reinforce the message of hope that was, you know, something that we all followed and we subscribed to when President Obama was campaigning. And I think that's something that hope can exist. We can look at the glass as half full or half empty, and we must always be optimistic. In the Holy Quran, there's a verse that talks about, with every difficulty there's ease. We know there have been many difficulties and challenges and conflicts that continue, and we must be hopeful and optimistic. To give you an example, this Friday, as a Muslim, when I went for our Jummah services, our Friday Muslim services in the afternoon, I went to a synagogue to pray. Because here in the DC metropolitan area, we have a strong interfaith grassroots network. People coming together, sharing sacred places. As a part of our 10 branches of the All Dulles Area Muslim Society, 2 of them are affiliated and working with synagogues as far as prayer. We have a mosque and a synagogue which are neighbors in Ashburn, sharing a wall. Last Sunday, I was at an interfaith event at the synagogue in Ashburn. We had halal and kosher food, and when it was time for our sunset prayer, I walked right through the door which connected our 2 synagogue and mosque, right for our Maghrib prayers, and then I came right back to continue to eat halal and kosher food. This Friday, as I said, we rent a synagogue and we pray in the sanctuary. And we have Rabbi of the synagogue has come to speak at the Friday services at our mosque to thousands of Muslims. The Imam has gone and spoken at the Shabbat services on Friday evening. Again, this is just a glimpse. There are so many other things that we work together. There is a wonderful non-profit organization called Reston Interfaith. It's a shelter and pantry. It has counseling service and helping those in need in our area. And it is, the board represents Christian, Muslim, Jewish, as well as other faith groups as a part of it. I also am the chair of the Interfaith Conference of Metropolitan Washington, representing Protestants, Catholics, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Jain, Buddhist, Sikh, Zoroastrian, and Baha'i. We must expand the dialogue and get
of love. And one element, one law of love is that we see what's real. Well, I'm not talking about Hallmark love. I'm talking about the spiritual love. I'm not talking about being lost in a daze of love, and then the next morning you wake up and you wonder who you spent the night with. No. I'm talking about the love where you see what is real and you keep on loving. That's spiritual love. That's the divine love. That's the way that the Creator loves us, with that kind of love. And that's the kind of love that we are called to. And I was thinking about what Bill McKibben said earlier about the reality of our global situation. And it reminded me of a story of a ship captain who was the captain of a very great ship. And he was sailing this ship in the night, and he saw a light up ahead, and he said, you know, move out of the way. This is my great ship. Please move. And this, you know, and this oncoming light did not move. And he again gave his signal and said, move out of the way. This is Captain James. This is the USS Great. And this oncoming light still did not move. And he repeated the call one more time. He said, move out of the way. Did you not hear me? This is Captain James of the USS Great. And the response came over the speaker, this is the lighthouse. At the reality, at what's really happening to our planet, to our environment, to look at it with compassion, with love. Sister Joan Chichester the other morning was talking about how we can start to measure the activity of the brain and how it expands with love. That this is a biological fact that we are created, our brains are created, and they become more and more useful the more we love, the more compassionate we are. And so whoever it is that we are arguing with, whoever it is that we are seeking to change, whoever it is that we are wanting to build as allies, we need to approach it with this spirit of love, with this commitment to love. So I want to invite you, just here we are right next to our president's house, just to take a minute and let him know that we love him.